It's Waxing Lyrical, baby.
Hello, Waxers, and welcome to Waxing Lyrical with Mains and Dutch. I'm your host, Mains, my colleague, the Sam Donald, to my Josh Rosen. It's Mr. Neil Dutton. How are we, Neil?
I think we should start thinking about new theme music.
That's great, right? I'm really glad that you think that I should spend somewhere in the region of 5 to 6 hours finding, editing, and creating new music. That's really nice of you. Well, your input is usually, I think we should have new music.
Well, ultimately, I'm here to speak. I'm the voice of the public. I am their leader. I must follow them.
Which I've got no problem with. Like, any suggestions on new music, do you know what I mean? Like, will be greatly received. Stuff that A, I don't have to pay for, and B, is easily editable. Well, we need to get one of our star guests to do us a bit of a voiceover as well would be tremendously useful. But yeah, it's not as easy as let's just have new music. Oh, I'll just pick it from the new music pile.
I can't do it, therefore I assume it's easy. So I don't see what your argument is.
You can't do brain surgery. This doesn't mean that that's easy.
But it's easy to do the person who I ask. So I ask the right person. I wouldn't ask a butcher to do it. So, I ask you. You're the tech guy.
Yeah, you say that.
Get us some new
My
music.
wife continually suggests that I, paint or do the garden. And I'm not a painter and decorator or a gardener. I don't know if that's the same kind of idea. She's now pulling the face. I wondered if I could bait her. She's literally pulling the face of, I've never asked you to paint and never asked you to garden. That's also true, but it's not as funny in the podcast.
It's gone through to the keeper, that one, mate. It's a terrible line. Terrible length.
We've now crossed the fourth wall, or fifth wall. I don't know. Who gives a? This week, the draft is tomorrow. We're doing this on Wednesday before our usual Thursday. We're not going to talk about the draft specifically because it's been done to death.
I'm fed up with it.
And we just want it to happen, and we'll discuss what happened later on in an upcoming show. What we will do this week is do some classic weird worlds. We meet a man who's unlucky than Dutton, and a kid who's more ingenious than the most evil genius kid ever. We will look at the draft in its parlance for some of the most annoying phrases ever created in Christendom that make us laugh the first time you hear it, but then make us very sad by this time of year when you've heard it 74 million times. And then finally,
literally, some of them literally want me to, reach into the inside of my face and pull it inside out.
I'll tell you what, that's a visual. And then the last thing, we'll go through the NFL schedule, not in tremendous detail, but just a couple of things that caught our eye, and we thought we'd chat about, readying ourselves for 18-19 season when, unbelievably, Neil's team will be defending Super Bowl champions.
Should just point out as well, having spoke last week as we did to Denny Carter, I did purchase 69 Ways to Own the Libs. It is ridiculously funny.
When you say funny, you mean real, right? It's not a. What you're not trying to suggest to me it's satirical like Private Eye, are you?
There are hints of a satirical nature. I sense Denny's tongue may have been somewhere near his cheek as he was writing these things.
I mean, not that we only speak to liberal people, Neil, but the thought of someone we speaking to being so anti-liberal he wanted to own them is not really our style.
No.
No Bob McNair coming on to Waxing Lyrical anytime soon.
Well, as I say, other people from other teams don't answer me anyway, so even if he wasn't
yeah, it's true.
Stupid white man, as Michael Moore once referred to him, I doubt he'd come on.
Yeah, true. Let's get this started, Dutton. Let's start with Weird World. And as I said, I think I may have found a man who is more unlucky than you. Now, waxers who don't know Neil personally may think Neil is a successful writer and talking head on the NFL. That is true. But for people who know him, that's his alter ego that they don't believe exists.
Yes, I am a blithering idiot.
And in real life, he's been known to be a blithering idiot who I would describe as, of anyone who's seen Mighty Ducks 2, is the guy who was dead fast at skating but had no idea how to stop.
I am a sarcastic mix of Frank Spencer and Mr. Bean.
One for the kids there, as both of those references are somewhere in the region of 25 to 45 years old. And great to see Rowan Atkinson deciding not to do Blackadder, but doing Johnny English again. Wasn't funny the first time or the second time.
To be fair, though, the first one did have Natalie Imbruglia in it, and also they wouldn't be allowed to make Blackadder again because it's seen as bullying.
Because it was bullying, Neil. That was one of the major points.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed to make. I'll just a quick sidetrack. Blackadder has been criticised by the libs for essentially being a bully, which he was. He bullied everyone. Fawlty Towers, bullying, because again, yes, he was a posturing, pompous, bigot who liked to slap a Spanish waiter around the head repeatedly.
What I would say is, Neil, is that if you don't like Blackadder being a bully, watch Blackadder 1, which is terrible, where he's a whimpering mess.
It's odious creature.
It's not good, like. But Neil, we've met a man who's unlucky than you. Back to that story. Colorado man bitten by shark in Hawaii, previously attacked by bear or rattlesnake. Fox Denver 31 reports. A Colorado man attacked by a shark in Hawaii earlier this week had earlier encounters with a bear and rattlesnake, the Honolulu Star-Advertiser reported. Dylan McWilliams, or Lucky McLuckface as I'm going to call him from now on, was bitten by a shark Thursday while swimming off the islands of Kauai. Oh. Apologies for people from Hawaii who listen, and I've just butchered that name. He suffered several cuts to his leg that can be seen in one of his recent Facebook posts. I haven't looked. I'm going to take his word for it. McWilliams said he believed the tiger shark bit him. That was the scariest part. I didn't know where the shark was, and I didn't know if it would come after me again. This was not McWilliams' first painful bite from a wild animal. In fact, it was his third. In July, he was attacked by a bear in Colorado. The bear bit his skull, grabbed his head, and dragged him about 12 feet from where he was sleeping. The bear was later euthanized.
The bear was murdered.
The bear was being a bear. This dude is on my property, and I need to get rid of him immediately.
This is always my issue with phrases like, all of a sudden the lion went wild. No, the lion went lion. You went wild by going near it.
Yeah.
You're camping out in the wild in Colorado. There are bears. The bear went bear.
Gets better. The Star-Advertiser also reported that Williams was also bitten by a rattlesnake while hiking in Utah about three and a half years ago. My parents are grateful I'm still alive, said the newspaper. I'm not sure they do, because they keep on sending you to dangerous places where you could possibly die.
Yeah, just a quick word of warning to anyone from the Mountain West area. If you are picking up a hitchhiker, or you are a hitchhiker and you stop for a lift, ask for the name. If this fella offers his name, if you're driving, get away from him as fast as possible. But if he also wants to get in your, if you need to get in his car, just walk. The exercise will do you a power of good.
Yeah, it's much better to walk, as otherwise you will possibly die.
In a hilarious manner.
So Dutton, let's be honest. We'll be talking about the schedule later on the NFL, but some of us are trying to get to London to watch the NFL games. That shouldn't be complicated. We live in the country. We have jobs. And we understand the internet. However, I think I've been involved in text messages ranging up to 100 on the ability to A, buy the tickets, B, what type of hotel we're looking at, whether we're going to sleep on someone's couch in an Airbnb.
Which we're not.
Which we're not.
Which we're not.
Which Neil isn't.
No.
We're still somehow unable, less than 6 months to go, still unable to book train tickets to get to said games. This is unbelievable. But you know what, Neil? If we can't do that, but a 12-year-old can book a flight to Bali. Australian boy books 4-day getaway after fight with mum. Kids
need to clear his head.
kids hear no from their parents all the time, but when Emma told her 12-year-old son they weren't going to Bali, he decided the word no wasn't the one he wanted to hear. I don't know how you get into a conversation with your mum about going to Bali when you're 12. It's not somewhere I wanted to go to, but we'll go past that. It's fine.
You want to go to Bali.
Yeah. After a heated argument with his mum, the boy, who, at current affair, that's the website we're on, gave the name of Drew, borrowed the family's credit cards and
Drew mate,
yeah. Borrowed the family's credit cards and headed to Bali anyway.
No, stole his family's credit cards.
I like that. He borrowed, like he was going to give them back. Yeah. After securing his family's credit cards, Drew coaxed his grandmum into giving him his passport and researched airlines that flew to Bali. Like, you know, grandparents are a pain, right? Because your kid always sleeps better there, your kid's always better behaved, and they get chocolate whenever they want it. But I'm not sure that Alfie, James or Max could convince my mum and dad to give them their passport. Why do you need it, Alf?
Yeah.
Why do you need it, Alf? Well, I want to go on holiday. Okay, let's be brutally honest. They can't convince Jill of said activity. If Bill was watching golf / the footy, and especially if it was Man U, you could get him to give you anything at that point in time. Dad, can I have that £300 that you owe me? Yeah, here's a card. Just use I need your fingerprint, Dad. Just hold out your phone, all that kind of keeper, you'll be fine.
Just get up my face and while I do this.
while I clap, while Jose Mourinho's team are winning 1-0 again. Then, one morning, Drew filled his backpack with enough clothes for a 4-day holiday to Bali. I don't know why he's randomly chose 4 days, by the way. If you're going to do it properly, Drew. Go the 2 weeks. And told his parents he was off to school. Instead, Drew rode his Razor scooter to the station, took a train to the airport, and boarded the plane. No questions asked.
Well, he had a valid ticket and passport. Why they were not going to ask questions?
Oh my God, he's on his own. Drew used the self-service checkout at Sydney's airport, which meant he didn't have to deal with any airline personnel until he was physically giving them his ticket. After a brief stopover in Perth, yes, that's right, he got on a plane, which Drew said he sort of stuffed up because I got a deal cheap. The 12-year-old landed in Bali. When Emma notified her 12-year-old had never turned up for school, she reported him missing. Eventually, the family figured out their brazen boy was actually in Bali. Parenthetically adds, in shorts, getting a mocktail from one of the waiters. And Emma had to jump on a plane to get him. So he got his holiday with his mum anyway.
Yeah. This all sounds like a con. I guarantee a newspaper page with this story and they got it all back.
It's brilliant. Oh, she looks like a real human. You can actually watch a video on her. It's just fantastic. I guess the best way to describe this is, Neil, if you've got any absolutely wild stories and you want us to talk about them, send them to us. Send them directly to Neil. He's at ends13. Send them to me. I'm at Mainsy7. And combined, we are at waxing_lyrical. You're going to do well to beat any of these two from this week, as they are both spectacular. But let's move on. And as we said, the draft is coming up tomorrow. And we're not proposing to talk about the draft, but what we are proposing to talk about is annoying draft phrases that really get in our wick.
Mm-hmm.
So, Neil, we've got 7 here. You've probably got 6. I've added another one later on that we hate, and we want to talk through briefly and give you an idea of why we hate them. First one, Neil: climbing up draft boards.
Hate it.
Why do you hate it, Neil?
Because the idea that these people have had a whole year to scout these players. They are not going to change their mind on a player on some arbitrary whim 2 weeks before the draft because of something Peter King says. I'm terribly sorry, it's not going to happen. No one climbs up draft boards. They've been done, they've been set. I don't know why we have to wait this long for the draft. It's all pointless.
I guess my question on that would be, Neil, that you suggested they've been looking at it for years, and I assume you want to add the phrase, apart from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, Marcus Mosier did point out that the Dallas Cowboys had their first draft meeting on April the 9th.
Because you weren't busy during the periods outside of that. I think
it should be pointed out though that when Tyrann Mathieu was released by the Arizona Cardinals, the Cowboys, the people running the Cowboys at the time, did want to make an offer. Unfortunately, the owner / GM / CEO / president and the CEO, who are all related, of course, were all on a do not disturb family holiday to the Bahamas.
And people wonder why the Dallas Cowboys haven't really been a success since Jimmy Johnson left.
Yeah, this comes from Marcus Mosier. He's one of the best Cowboys writers there is. He's got very well connected. So if he's saying this, he's not just making it up.
And why would he make it up? Because he writes about Dallas, and he won't necessarily want to make up lies about Dallas, as he would like access to the Dallas Cowboys.
And also, you don't have to lie about the Cowboys. The truth is better.
You don't lie about Dallas, you don't lie about Washington, because the truth is better than fiction. It's just ridiculous, Neil, as you said. What it basically means is, I had an idea of what a team was going to do. I've now spoken to the team, and they actually are going to do something completely different. Therefore, I'm going to suggest that they have moved them up the draft board, when actually they haven't. They've always had them there in the first place. I just didn't know at the time.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Brandt always goes on about the 3 magic words that Green Bay lived by. Trust the board. Well, you can't trust the board if you keep changing it.
No, absolutely.
Can you?
Absolutely. I guess my question on the next one is, Neil, what is the effing difference between speed and quickness?
Now, this is one, actually, I do have an answer for. It's slightly bewildering, because for me, it's the same thing. He's strong and physical. But Daniel Jeremiah, former scout, said speed is running fast continually. Quickness is how is regarding change of direction. So it's if anything, it should be speed and sharpness.
Yeah, I think it's but breaking news: Americans destroy English language. But in theory, being fast and being quick are the same thing, right? As you said, what they're actually suggesting is he quick over 5 yards, or has he got break speed over 30? That's okay, but say that. You're not saying that.
I was quick. I was never fast. Because over 5 yards, I'm quicker than anyone, and after 5 yards, the ball was in the net. So.
After I'd passed it to you. Next one, Dutton. One of my favourites. This guy just loves football. I would love anything as much as a football player loves football if they were willing to pay me $20 million a year.
I don't even want that much. Give us, $500K and I'll do it.
I don't know. Does it? I suppose it suggests that there are players that don't like football, and I guess that's true. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it being a job. Like, if you take jobs seriously.
I mean, I know of professional, if we have any American listeners, hello to both of them. There are soccer players for whom it is a job. Former Liverpool left-back Stephen Warnock, for example.
That's BBC 5 Live, Stephen Warnock. He's doing a very good job, by the way.
Yeah. Because I suppose if it's something you've been doing at that level in this country, as I say, we have the academies and whatnot. These kids are sequestered away from the age of 8, which is why they have no social skills and no immune system to injury or illness. I suppose it's not you're not going to want to come away from that, go and talk to your mates, and then talk about football. But I suppose something like the NFL, where it's such a big off season, I love the idea that literally someone's played for 16 weeks, goes, has a few weeks off, and then wants to get back in the facility, wants to get training, wants to read his playbook, wants to meet his new team. I don't see a problem with that. But, I don't think it should be held up as a virtue for people especially, people, this is essentially it's a job opening, it's a jobs fair. And I don't think, he really loves the game. Well, so do I. I'm also crap. So, it shouldn't be held up as if there's two people of equal talent, yeah, maybe. But if it's, me against Josh Rosen, yeah, I probably love the game more than Josh. Who would you rather have behind centre? Me or Josh Allen? It's a different question. But Josh Rosen, I don't see the problem.
I think we just move on to the next one. Don't know, as you brought it up, this guy has been one of the guys you mentioned. Has been mentioned in this. It is raised by intellectuals, or he has a privileged background, which obviously means he doesn't work hard, because anybody who's rich originally or from a middle class or upper middle class background has never become more rich by working hard. They have opinions, and the NFL is scared by them, is what they're trying to say.
Yeah, Peyton Manning grew up in a mud shack somewhere in Louisiana. But Peyton Manning went asked, during the Colts 1998 and the Colts meetings with him, was asked, what would you do if you were drafted by the Indianapolis Colts and became our starting quarterback? Peyton Manning said, I would ask for a copy of the playbook as soon as possible so I can learn it and be ready if I am called upon to be starter in week 1. The other major contender for the number 1 overall pick that year said, I'm getting 20 of my mates and we're going to Vegas.
Ooh, well in, Ryan. Wonder why you didn't work out.
That's why one of these people is getting a bust and one of the other people is a bust. But let's say the idea that, you come from a privileged upbringing, it's the idea, he'll want to know why. Good. Run this play. Well, hang on, it's third and 1. We need an inch. Why are you calling a 40-yard bomb, coach? Just run the play. No, we don't need to. Your process is flawed. You can tell me to run this play, but I won't be running it. If your coach is that bad that he has to be challenged, change the coach. Yes, I am looking at you, Hugh Jackson.
I think you just look and just think, you're allowed to have an opinion. I don't think that's a bad thing, just because the NFL doesn't like it. It likes conformity and robots. But at the end of the day, you're allowed to have an opinion when you're good. They're just scared that you can't have an opinion and become good. And I'm not sure they're mutually exclusive.
It's, as I say, I just don't understand this fear. Surely, as teachers, as coaches, you're trying to teach something to someone. If they say why, is it because they don't understand? Then correct it. There's a problem with your teaching. Don't see it as a challenge. See it as an opportunity to learn. As maybe someone else hasn't understood either, but they were too scared to speak out because, as we know, can't ask questions.
Exactly, Neil. Next one, Neil. A plug-and-play player. I sometimes look at this, he's a plug-and-play player. You say that right, but surely he's only a plug-and-play player for a team that plays the same way that he plays in college. There's a thing called playbooks, and all 32 teams don't play exactly the same way. So, he's a plug-and-play left tackle. Yeah, only in a team that, does a load of pass plays, not necessarily a load of run plays, vice versa, whatever it is.
This is something actually has always annoyed me about Madden, the game.
Yeah.
In that you get a middle linebacker, for example, and he's rated 95, and you play a 4-3, and he goes to a team that plays a 3-4, where he's now 2 middle linebackers, but he's still 94. No, it doesn't work that way. He's probably he's a 94 in a 4-3. He's probably a 90 in a 3-4. It doesn't work that way. You can't just, as you say, pick him up. Oh, this quarterback's 94. I'll put him on this team with no wide receivers, no tight end, a terrible offensive line, and it'll work. No, not realistic.
Next one's up. They don't like intellectuals, but they love someone with a high football IQ.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Is it? They want I guess it's they want a savant who deals fully in football. But I just want someone who's a rounded individual who's intelligent on multiple things, and I want him to understand football. I do, but I'm not really sure what a high football IQ is.
So we have the nose tackle shaded here. He's on the outside shoulder of our, the centre. We've got two tackles up on the guard. We've got a blitz coming off the strong side. What do you think we should do? To be or not to be? No, don't talk stupid. What do you think? Football. Yep, you're a guy. Yeah.
So I think it just makes me laugh. It's just one of them phrases where you're like, "Ooh, he's got a high football IQ." Okay, I don't know what that means.
Again, lovely story. If he can't throw 5 yard out, he can have the highest IQ in the world. It comes down to this, this joke that Steve Coogan used to tell, as Paul Calf. Everyone says David Beckham's thick, but no one has a go at Stephen Hawking for being rubbish at football.
Wait. Final one, something which you haven't got on your list, and is a bane of mine. Although I kind of understand it, but like you played in college for 4 years, you've threw for 10,000 yards and 500 touchdowns, and now someone's interested in your hand size. And I know there's some kind of correlation between like small hands and not being good, but I'm not 100% sure it should be the be-all and end-all of life. After, he was dead good in college and he fitted in a scheme and he played for Iowa, for example, but he can't go to Cleveland because he's got small hands. Just so you know, it ain't hot in Iowa.
No. As Teron Davenport always says, he's an Eagles writer for... I'm going to get the Eagles reference in every week.
Of course.
Won the Super Bowl, Charles Davis said I can talk about it. Size isn't a skill. Yeah. Size isn't a skill. It's what it is. So, if hand size, seriously, you're telling me you can't coach him to grip the ball differently? I mean, this isn't changing his mechanics. This is just hold the ball slightly, or if it's handoffs, just make sure the mesh point is. If you can't coach that, again, you're the problem, not the player.
I just look and think like I don't know the hand sizes of the quarterbacks now. I don't, because I don't particularly care. But like Sam Darnold's got a problem with fumbling, and that's because he's really bad at ball security. It's got nothing to do with the size of his hands. He just doesn't hold the ball correctly, and therefore people can slap it out of his hand dead easy.
I mean, there's a picture that Ollie Hunter of Gridiron keeps sending round, and that's his hand next to the hand of Paxton Lynch. Now, last time I checked, Paxton Lynch was crap.
Yeah.
But he's got huge hands. Must have a high football IQ as well. But he's terrible at the game.
He just loves football, Neil.
That's it.
He's a plug-and-play quarterback.
He's a plug-and-play quarterback who won't question him. But his speed and quickness is off the chart.
Off the chain. If you've got some annoying draft phrases, let us know.
Not just draft phrases. I think if there's NFL phrases that you've heard that annoy you, and I'm looking at someone who shares an awful lot of my annoyances with the modern world. Fellow grumpy old man Adam Foxcroft. I want to hear his most annoying sporting phrases.
I'm sure Adam's got work to do and not tweeting 700 times at me and you, but there we go, we'll soon find out. Final thing, the schedule was released last week, so we wanted to talk about it. Not like go through game by game, telling me how like Colleen Wolfe told us all that the Eagles are going 16-0. Already sent a freezing cold takes there just in case it doesn't happen. But we want to look at some interesting games and how it affects London as well. So let's start, Neil. You got the Falcons for your banner presentation. Are you pleased?
Ultimately, I'm not bothered. It sounds miserable. We had to play the Falcons. It was one of 8 teams who were going to be at home. I would prefer to be the Cowboys.
Just to stick it to him. God. Yeah.
It's like, do you know that 5 you've got? Yeah. Do you know how many you've got while Carson Wentz has been alive? Yeah. Not very many. But you see this banner that's coming down here? I'm not bothered. Ultimately, the season's got to start against someone. It was a sneaky, intriguing playoff game that ultimately came down to the last play of it. And to be honest, that was the last time the Eagles were challenged in the playoffs until the Super Bowl. So,
wow, yeah, what a phrase that is! That's the humblest of humble brags ever. Like, I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to be the guy who suggests that you were 7-0 down in the NFC title game and they'd had one possession. So I understand what you're saying. It's not strictly true, and you won, so it doesn't matter. I just want to knock you down at 0.1 of an inch.
Nah. Ultimately, it doesn't. I say to me, it doesn't matter. The season had to open with someone. The Eagles are going to be at home, so
week 5 done. Rivalries renewed. Colts against the imploding. That was said tongue in cheek. New England Patriots. The Josh McDaniels Bowl, as I'm sure it will be named.
And I'm sure Josh McDaniels is better suited than most to know the strengths and weaknesses of Colts starting quarterback Jacoby Brissett for when that game actually comes about.
That mean true or not, that statement makes me sad. Nothing against Jacoby Brissett, just Andrew. I know he's been on the field like in a Colts uniform. Watching today, great. Need him throwing.
So you're a personalised kit wanker. Essentially, that's what you're watching this sport with a shirt with your name on it, but not actually participating in it.
I might just tweet faux Andrew Luck # full kit wanker.
Yeah, it's like to me. I mean, I saw 2 stories today that they were being sold as news, but they're not. One of them was Andrew Luck still not throwing. I'm not interested now. Tell me when he starts. The other one was Kim Kardashian strips down to model her perfume bottle or something. So Andrew Luck isn't throwing, and Kim Kardashian's got her tits out. On what planet are these news stories?
Yeah, true, Neil. Then we'll look at 2 final bunches of games. We love Thanksgiving games, so let's talk about them. Bears at Lions.
Sneaky good.
Sneaky good, I think. Could be sneaky good. Hopefully sneaky good. Former, and for me, biggest rivalry in the NFL. Skins at Cowboys for the late game. Sneaky bad. Or just not sneaky. And then,
just bad.
Then Triple G, Greg Rosenthal's entry in best rivalry in the NFL. Falcons at Saints is the late game, which is just good, not sneaky or anything, just good.
No, that is just good. That could be, serious. That game could seriously, decide, playoff seedings or division title standings. That could be, one of the games of the season. This is where we look now, as we are now, 6 months hence. When we get there and they're both, both 0-8 or something, and ultimately it's like, oh God, why didn't we get Jacksonville v the Titans, who are both 7-1, 6-4, whatever it is.
Exactly, Neil. Exactly. And finally, the London games have finally been finalised. That's easy for me to say. Seahawks versus the Raiders, 14th of October. Spurs Stadium. I assume it's still White Hart Lane, right? It's built on White Hart Lane.
Probably called the new White Hart Lane or something. Everyone will just call it the Lane. Apparently,
we're home of the worst semi-final team in the history of Christendom. Spurs.
They are up there with the Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings in terms of how to blow before the big one. A reason apparently that the tickets still aren't on sale for that is because the Fox team have to come over and have to make decisions on where they're going to set the cameras up, what seats are going to be boxed off. That's a Fox and NFL rule. That's why those tickets are not on sale till very, very late.
Wow, that is breaking news. I didn't know that one. Then back to back weeks at Wembley this year. 21st of October, Titans at Chargers, and then the game Neil's been waiting for, and the game that the UK's been waiting for, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles against the UK's favourite team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well,
you don't spit into the wind, you don't stand on Superman's cape, and you don't take Blake Bortles on at Wembley. So obviously the Eagles are walking into a buzzsaw.
This, Blake Bortles' real home, London 10.
Yeah. Blake!
In relation to the rest of the schedule, it's the 25th of April. Get over yourselves. We're interested in dates more than anything else.
Yeah.
We won't know what's going on. We probably won't know what's going on with the schedule until about 3 weeks in.
No, I say you knew who your team was going to be playing as soon as the season finished. So ultimately, you knew you had 16 games to play. You knew there's going to be probably a divisional game, the last game of the season. You knew who was going to be, you knew 3 teams were going to be playing on Thanksgiving probably. Ultimately, and we knew the Wembley fixtures anyway. So these games don't matter until they matter.
Well, Neil, that's a wrap. But before we let people go, in your internet genius persona, writer, talking head, what can people read about you from you this week?
Well, it came out late last week, but you can still get it in time before the draft. I have a look at Deshaun Hamilton and why he is a low discount version of Calvin Ridley. This week, already out, are the final editions of the Rotoviz Scouting Index for quarterback and tight end. So that's where we look at the consensus the consensus picks or rankings for the players at those positions. And after the draft, I will be writing some reaction pieces to landing spots for players for Rotoviz. I will stun you. They are tight ends. I'll be writing on Dallas Goedert, Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki, Ian Thomas, and another one whose name escapes me, but hopefully it'll come back to me before I have to write it. Hayden Hurst.
I was going to say, it'd be useful if you did remember before you write it.
Yeah, my granddad, Hayden Hurst.
Okay.
He old.
Yeah, he is old, yeah, that's very true. That's it for this week. We hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy the draft wherever you watch it, listen to it, read about it. As always, if you want to speak to us, at waxing_lyrical, I'll reply. It'll be in bad grammar. And on that note, hang on. Just a quick one. If you are listening, do tweet at Dan Hansis and Greg Rosenthal and tell them to come on so we can interview them as Dave Gettleman and it wasn't Mickey Loomis. Who was it? The really quiet, the really squeaky voice guy. The Greg did. Absolutely amazing. Like, truly amazing. Like,
it was Gettleman. Sorry, it was John Elwyn and Dave Gettleman. That's who we won.
Absolutely fantastic. And on that note, these top guys are out.